Hello Factory fans, in the last episode of our Legendary Factory series, we began implementing the Legendary Factory on Nalvis for all our Nalvis sciences. This episode, we turn our attention to Vulcanus, tearing down our old metallurgic science setup to replace it with a legendary build. Our goal? A high output metallurgic science factory producing at least 10 science packs per second with room to grow. Let's get into it. With all our Nalvis science being produced at 1000 per second, our next port of call is to set up the sciences on all our other planets to match the Nalvis science. So our Nalvis science is being produced at around, well, we were targeting 10 per second. So we need to do that on every other planet. We're going to start with Vulcanus. The reason is because our Nalvis ship is currently producing white science. It's traveling to Vulcanus and back to gather the asteroids required to produce all of that white science. So we might as well get it to go to Vulcanus, pick up some orange science and bring it back as well. So we need to make our design and we're going to do it in our lab. And then we'll go to Vulcanus and actually implement it so it's nice and clean. So we'll work backwards, start with a foundry. One legendary foundry producing the science pack. We will of course give it maximum productivity modules and surround it with beacons. Powering this up, we can see how much it can possibly produce one day. One foundry with maximum legendary beacons and modules can produce 63 orange science per second, which is a lot. To produce that orange science, we're going to need molten copper, tungsten carbide, and tungsten plate. Let's have a look at tungsten plate first. Tungsten plate just needs tungsten, so that's not going to be a problem. And we need molten iron. So we need molten copper and molten iron. Let's look at tungsten carbide. So tungsten carbide is needing tungsten ore, sulfuric acid, and carbon. So these are all the intermediaries for our orange science. Let's produce the intermediaries required for each one of these. So carbon and tungsten ore. Tungsten ore is just going to come from the mines. Sulfuric acid is default on Vulcanus, so we just need to deal with the carbon. Our carbon factory is made in a chem plant, and we just use coal and sulfuric acid, which shouldn't be a problem at all. And I think that's pretty much it. That's the entire production chain for orange science. Now we have two routes we can proceed with our Vulcanus factory. One, we can do everything independently of our quality farm on Vulcanus that's producing all our modules, big miners, and foundries, and just have this thing as an independent system. Or we can borrow materials from our quality farm. Now, I kind of like the idea of just creating an independent legendary factory. So maybe we should just set up everything we need to make everything for all the components, like for example, all the blue circuits and everything, just to see what that looks like. I like the idea of having an independent factory. Of course, I can just pull the blue circuits and everything off the main system that already exists. But just for fun, let's just see what it looks like to make everything. Now, my Nalvis build, I was making my plastic in chem plant, but all of you guys suggested I do it in a cryolab. I don't have legendary cryolabs, so fine, I'll just do it in a normal cryolab and we'll upgrade to legendary one day. So we're going to need to make petroleum as well. All right, let's quickly go through the full production chain. I believe these are all the buildings that we need to make orange science from scratch without leveraging anything from our existing systems. It's not too complicated. We should be able to put together a decent compact build to make orange science, and that's what this series is all about. So to make orange science, we need tungsten carbide, tungsten plate, which we're making over here and here. Tungsten plate only requires iron and tungsten ore, which is fine. For tungsten carbide, we need carbon and tungsten ore, which carbon is being made over here out of coal and sulfuric acid. That's all good. That's pretty much the entire chain to make the science packs themselves. Next, we need to make the parts to launch rockets. So for rocket launchers, we're going to need LDS. LDS is just going to use molten iron and copper, which is fine, and plastic. So we need to start making plastic, which means we need to make petroleum. Over here, we're doing the petroleum chain where we're going to have to do coal liquefaction. So it's going to take coal. We're going to have to prime it with a bit of heavy oil. It needs steam. So we're turning sulfuric acid and calcite into steam. Then over here, we're going to take that heavy oil. We're going to do our standard if we need it to crack that light oil away into petroleum to make more plastic. And the heavy oil is going to be continually cycled back into this system. I guess we'll do all the circuit logic to make that happen. But that's all the basic materials to do coal liquefaction, and that should give us petroleum gas. We also need to use that petroleum gas. Aside from making the plastic itself, we need to use that petroleum gas and light oil and stuff to at some point make solid fuel, and use that solid fuel to make rocket fuel. That's two of the components for the rocket parts, and our third component is obviously circuits. So we've got EM plant making our green circuit, our red circuit, which uses the plastic once again, and our blue circuit. Hopefully I haven't missed anything, so let's try to put this all together into a build. So to do that, we're going to start with shaving away some of these beacons to get all the numbers to make sense. We obviously don't need to be producing 63.5 orange science per second. So let me start shaving away the beacons and seeing what we actually need and what that might actually look like. So our starting point for orange science looks like it only requires one legendary beacon with modules in it, and that will produce 16, which is more than enough for us. Same for the tungsten plate demand. It looks like we just need one machine with one beacon. We need to make 20 tungsten carbide. So let's have a look at how much we need to shave this down by to start with. This is like way too fast. Crap. Even one beacon is like too much, but no beacons is way too slow. All right, well, one beacon it is. That's the minimum we can get that down to. It's going to way overproduce tungsten carbide, which is fine because we probably want this system to do the exports as well. So we want to bring tungsten carbide and we want to bring this out over to Aquilo one day to make all the stuff on Aquilo. So a little bit of overproduction is perfectly fine. We can future-proof it. And same with this. This is producing 16 and we require 13. So an extra 3 per second. Yeah, that should be more than enough. And we only need one beacon again for our carbon maker as well. All right, now what do we want to produce this LDS in? Obviously, we don't want to make 44 per second. We need enough for like a lot of rocket launches. I mean, realistically, we can just overproduce this. It's fine. So let's just shave this down to one beacon. And that's still producing 11 LDS. That's going to be a lot. So we're going to need to sort out the plastic for this. Next, we're going to look at the blue circuits. Again, 14. Do we want to produce at 11 and 14? That seems like a crazy amount. We should just make an arbitrary target for how much we want to produce. Like 6 blue circuit per second is still a lot. 4 blue circuit per second, I think, is more than enough. The red circuit required is 2.6 for that. So let's shave this down. That's 5. And we need 2.6. All right, that's overproducing red circuit. That's fine. That's one beacon. Then for the green circuit to meet this, we need 30. And this thing produces 240. All right, crazy. 99, that's still too much. That's 71, that's still too much, but one beacon. And it just looks like one beacon for everything is the theme, basically. What else do we need for plastic? So the only thing that needs plastic is red circuit and this thing. So even to meet this overproduction, we only need 26 plastic per second. This thing can produce 114. So let's shave that down. 31. And we need 26. So just a cryo, I didn't even put productivity modules in there. That's 75. That's still way overproducing. So basically all we're saying is we just need one beacon touching every single building and we get what we need, right? Okay, fair enough. I want to leave room for more beacons though, in case we need to do stuff in the future. All right, let's shave all this down to one beacon. I'm pretty sure that's all we need for everything. So to produce 242 petroleum to power this thing, let's see how many we need over here. Actually doesn't produce enough with one coal liquefactor. 82, and it produces 164 light oil, which we want to use some to produce rocket fuel. Let's work backwards from the rocket fuel. We don't need to produce 9 per second or 7 per second. 4, right? 4 is our target. 5, we probably won't even need to produce this much, but I think 2 beacons is okay. 4 per second. Yeah. All right. So to do that, we need 19 solid fuel. So that's going to produce way too much. Let's cut this down. 18. I think this is okay. We just do it with one beacon, and that's going to need 181 light oil. This is also going to need 19 light oil. Holy crap, that needs a lot of light oil. That needs 200 light oil. This thing produces 164 light oil. And that means that means this process uses up all the light oil, which is fantastic. But then what happens when this thing jams? Like, we're not always going to be using all the rocket fuel. So light oil will still back up, preventing the petroleum from being produced. And we need the petroleum to do everything else. Not really. We don't actually need the petroleum to do this. So if it jams, I guess. We'll have to just test it and see. Oh, but we do need to crack away the heavy oil because this thing's producing a surplus of 543 heavy oil. So maybe instead of using the light oil to do this, we use the heavy oil to do this. It seems dangerous to use heavy oil and deplete it out of the system. This thing uses 360 heavy oil. This produces an extra 500. We still need to deplete the rest of the heavy oil, so we do need to crack the heavy oil, crack the light oil, and manage the system via some sort of circuitry. So that should be fine. We don't need like 2 billion beacons to do this, but yeah. we'll manage that as we go when we actually set this up. And then finally, we just need the steam for this system, which we need about 230 steam. This thing produces 113k. We definitely don't need that. 36k. One beacon. That's crazy. Do we even need a beacon for this thing? That produces 5,000. We only need 200. So this thing can produce the extra steam for some power, I guess, as well. And we can always add speed modules to this thing and whatnot, but it's going to eat all the sulfuric acid. So yeah, I think this is pretty much the system we need. We just need to sort out the solid materials now. So to make the thing for the green circuits, to make 71 green circuits per second, we need 26 iron plate. This thing produces 300. Let's shave this all away. Even one beacon produces too much. No, need one beacon at least. I'm guessing it's the same for everything else. 332 copper cable per second. This thing needs 86. So that's pretty much the minimum there. And then I'm guessing one beacon for everything else. Basically, everything is just in ratio at one beacon. So we'll do it one beacon, but we'll leave room for all the beacons in the future in case we ever want to, 10x this science production. All right, let me compress this build and run all the belts and see what we get to. All right, well, here's the build. I've hooked up everything, all the inputs and the storage tanks and things for various fluids and all the inputs coming into the system to get everything going. It is producing all of the orange science that we need. Our one machine powered by this beacon is producing 16, so it doesn't need to run continuously, but it sort of is. I've taken out some of the extra stuff from the system, like tungsten carbide and tungsten, just to allow for future Aquilo projects in case we need to export this stuff from Vulcanus to Aquilo for quantum processors and the like. Over here, we've taken out the excess blue circuit and not excess blue circuit. We've taken out the blue circuit and the LDS and the rocket fuel to make rocket parts. So it's all pretty condensed. It's in this nice little square form factor, which I like. Everything has enough room for beacons in between every single building. I think everything is spaced perfectly. I've made sure I've put all the inserters and jumpers and stuff within the form factor of a beacon, so in future if we do need to surround this thing with beacons, we can do that very easily without having to change anything. But at the moment, everything is basically powered by one beacon. There is some overlap and stuff, so things will just back up. That's fine, that's not a problem at all. We've got all the inputs. The hardest part was dealing with the stone. Look at this crazy nonsense. I had to deal with the bloody stone coming out of the copper to keep the copper going. Yeah, so we'll have to worry about that in the actual game. I don't want to do too much more in testing. I think this is good enough of a start for putting it into the actual game. And of course, we'll tune everything and all the volumes in the actual game and we'll implement this thing. It's so small. I love it. It's great. And it produces a ton of orange science. And it's all fully independent from our quality system. It's not borrowing any materials. It's not borrowing any plastic or anything like that. All right, here is the blueprint ready to go. Let's go into our actual game and get this working. Now, before we start, it's probably a good idea to just transport all the existing science that we have on Nauvis over to our new science lab to get it all, basically get the system to burn through all the existing science. I don't want it anymore. And also, I need to put all my legendary stuff somewhere. God, so many legendary buildings. I don't want to bring these with me. We'll go grab new legendary buildings. My Nauvis base is just getting messier and messier by the minute, but that's fine. We'll put it all into this box so I know for future if I need to build any more stuff, all our legendary stuff is in this box for use. Everything else just looks like rubbish to me, so we'll get that sorted. Maybe I should have put this box somewhere else, not with my sorting boxes. Oops. Oh well. Let's just chuck the rest of the stuff out and we'll turn off personal logistics. And hopefully my bots can handle the rest of it. Oh damn, all this science. Alright, we'll keep the science on us. We'll dump the science into our actual science setup. And then we'll just start grabbing boxes and boxes of science. A tool belt would be definitely handy for this task because I have a lot of science to grab. Look at all this stuff. Holy crap. Where do I even start? Alright, I'm going to do all this and then I'll come back and talk about it, I guess, if there's anything to talk about. Alright, after much kerfuffling around, I have managed to move all of the science over to our new science setup. So hopefully it'll just burn through this while I work on other stuff. This is a consequence of not setting limits over here when I was importing the science down. So definitely make sure you set your limits. Now, before I go, there's just one last tiny thing I want to do, and that is to dismantle our old setup over here. Let me just move my Spidertron out of the way. We're going to dismantle our old setup over here, and we're going to replace it. Oh god, this is going to be so annoying. We're going to replace it with big miners with productivity modules, because this is our only uranium patch for quite some time. I don't see any other uranium remotely around anywhere we've explored. Setting up a new uranium patch this game is going to be super annoying. Yeah, literally there's like no uranium anywhere, right? There's only uranium ore there and like 170k uranium ore here, and there's like nothing anywhere else. You can imagine if I had to set up a train line somewhere to get another patch, it's going to be a nightmare. So we're going to invest some time right now and make this uranium patch last as long as humanly possible. Before we were just using it to make uranium fuel, but now that I'm using the uranium to roll for labs, I want this uranium patch to last forever. So to that end, I'm going to swap over some big miners over here, and we're going to get the big miners to do the uranium. Let me just grab all these stupid bots before I build my buildings. Basically the deal is I don't need you guys to mine fast. I just need you guys to conserve this ore patch as long as humanly possible. So let's pump in that sulfuric acid and hook everything up. And there we go. That will change the uranium to all big miners and should hopefully preserve the patch a lot more. The resource drain is at 8% and they've got legendary prod modules, so they should be producing a lot more. It's only going at 8.1, but we don't need this system to go quickly. We just need it to go. We've already disabled the uranium fuel production, and let's just go check on our science biolab maker before we go. Oh, check it out. It's made one purple biolab. Fantastic. So it'll very slowly eventually craft us a few legendary biolabs. It is checking to see there's enough uranium in our logistics network. We'll just go check on our Kobrax enrichment process before we leave. Yeah, it looks like it's just out of regular uranium, isn't it? So we'll get that going again. Fantastic. All right. That should really preserve all the uranium. I don't need this to go super fast, but yeah, this is now backed up because we've disabled the fuel production until this is less than 50, which is going to be forever basically. And then this is just going to create excess uranium in the system. And when we have excess uranium, it's going to use all that excess uranium to create whatever biolabs that it can, then roll them up to legendary whenever it can. This is going to take hours and hours to get even one legendary, but hours and hours we have because we need to go to Vulcanus, we need to go to Glebot, we need to go to a lot of places. The other thing I want to just fix is all of these error messages before I go, so be right back. That's it. Everything else is sorted. Oh, what is this now? One entity is missing construction robots. Oh, there's no construction robots in here? Why? Oh god. I accidentally led the biters to my old very first factory over here on the left, and now I guess they're just destroying everything for me, which I guess I should thank them for because it'll save me from deconstructing that thing one day. Alright, enough procrastinating. It's time to go to Vulcanus and get some work done. Alright, I guess to start with, we need to start deconstructing some stuff. Oh, all my coal mine is finished. Wow. Alright, let me grab some bots and let's get to work. I'm so not used to my bot's speed at the moment. It's crazy. It was nice of it to clear this area of coal for me because I might use it for some construction. So here is the old base and it's semi-linked into the new base, and this whole area is a bit of a mess. So let me start by deconstructing this old base. Oh, we don't even have anything that makes cliff explosives. But that's fine. We can build all that back in later at the end. This is going to be a big job to deconstruct this thing, so let me get started. God, clearing out to this old orange science factory was such a nightmare. Everything that was on the belts, because it's coming out of big miners, are all full stacks of things. Oh, the amount of tungsten and stuff I bought out of the system is insane. Look at all these boxes of tungsten. I've just fed it into our quality module farm, so it's not fully wasted. And all the boxes of calcite, it's just such a nightmare. But anyway, we've cleared this entire area now. So I was just thinking of building our new base in this area. So let me drop the blueprint and see what that might look like. It looks pretty straightforward to me. We'll bring everything down like around here somewhere, and then we'll pipe it through to the rocket silos there. It doesn't really matter where we build it. It looks fine to me here. So we'll build that and then we'll see what we're missing. Obviously, we're going to need some beacons, so I'm automatically going to send you over to Fulgora to grab those. Now, I don't want my bots doing anything, so just manually build everything for me. Grab all my building supplies from here. Definitely need some foundries, so we'll grab like 10 Yeah, we need a legendary oil refinery thing. Damn, I don't have one of those. I'm gonna have to like build one. Where is it? Didn't I put them somewhere? Was it on Nalvis? Might swing by Nalvis and grab it then. I believe I had one somewhere. Didn't I build extra just in case for this exact reason? Let's check my Nalvis box. Oil refinery 2. Okay, so when you swing by Nalvis, oh, on your way back, we'll go grab it from Nalvis. Oh, we'll just check what else we need from Fulgora first. So we need some legendary chem plants, which we don't have anymore. I think epic chem plants will be good enough for now. Yeah, we'll just replace those with epic chem plants. I think all the other buildings are fine. We just need some of these. Are these not legendary? Oops, didn't I build these in legendary? Whatever. They can be legendary, it doesn't really matter. So we need like 3 assemblers. Oh, we need some more epic chem plants. We have just enough epic chem plants to finish this build. We'll upgrade accordingly, whatever we need to upgrade when we do our tuning. I have a few legendary assemblers left, so let's chuck those in. Oh damn, I'm out of epic chem plants. Oh, do we need legendary here? Yeah, we have 2 of each of these left. We'll just grab them on the way back. Alright, what do we need from Fulgora? Nothing. We just need beacons. Alright, we'll just bring like 40 beacons over. No, apparently it's trying to grab 100 beacons. We'll just stop that. And we'll think 20, I think there's some on the way, so we'll just get it to go to Nalvis with whatever beacons it has on it. And then from Nalvis, we want to request some chem labs and some oil refineries. We'll go 2. And we'll go 2 chem labs. Out of all the legendary buildings that I set up, I never set up legendary these 2 buildings on Fulgora. Really should set that up, but we'll see. Yeah, we definitely need them for all our other builds. So we'll set that up when we go to Fulgora to do our Fulgora build. For now, I just need to build some storage tanks. Do I own any storage tanks? I don't think so. That's fine. We just need steel and we need plate. Now we do need a bunch of prod modules, so we'll grab those. You're wondering how our old Vulcanus setup is going? It's going pretty well. It's still producing stuff slowly. Alright, that's pretty much it. Here's our build done. Let's hook it up and see what it can do. So we need sulfuric acid somewhere. This is lava. Alright, so the lava pipe is going to come from over here. So we're going to change this a little bit. That's our first input done. And we need to output the stone. So that's doing this weird shenanigans over here. So we can get this shenanigans to do something a little bit better. I think this thing needs its own stone output. Let's get rid of this stuff. And we'll just get them to output separately, I guess. I don't know. We'll have to test it and see. Now I have a very limited supply of this stuff because I've temporarily disabled this entire build, but that's fine. Wow, finished researching so much random stuff. I don't even know what to research. Can we use up some of our Vulcanus science? Doing this, I guess, low density productivity. Still hitting over 1,000 science per minute on average, so that's pretty good. Alright, so the next input is the calcite, which I believe goes here. Now let's figure out the clearest path for calcite, and we'll take into account what it's doing for the old build as well. So our calcite is being mined from here and coming through over this side. And then it's going down to the old build and being routed around over here to nowhere. So we don't need to do this crazy routing a bit. We can clean up a little bit. And we should definitely do some cleanup because this is our nice final base, right? We can get the calcite to come directly over here and up into the new base. Now calcite still uses blue belts, which is a bit stupid, but whatever. Alright, there's our calcite, and that almost gives us everything we need to start everything off. And that will hopefully get the stone out as well at some point. Now, the next thing we should hook up is the sulfuric acid, which is this pipe over here. So we can hook it up anywhere, as long as we get it into here. So we can just do it directly, I guess. It's the cleanest path this way. Alright, with sulfuric acid in, we've got power. How's our power usage? We're capped on power usage. So we should definitely use some of this steam to generate some turbines somewhere. But that's fine. We don't need to do that right now. We do know we need to add turbines to this build at some point. I'll do that after I put down the concrete. Concrete is more important than power right now. But that should get all the basics in. Now we just need to prime this with a little bit of heavy oil. That's going to be a bit annoying to do. Let me hook in the coal first. The coal goes into this belt, I believe. And is that a convenient way to do coal? I guess so. We can just split like this and then bring it up this way. So somewhere along here maybe. Okay, and that's the coal in. So this is just now missing the crude oil to get it all kicked off. What about the final belt, which is tungsten? I believe the tungsten just needs to go into here, or here where it splits here. Okay, that's fine. We need to get tungsten in there, and tungsten is coming currently from over here somewhere, I believe. Yep, it's coming from a belt this way, so it's already kind of here. We just need to find a clean place to peel off the tungsten. So it is going all the way up here already. It's going through this old base area. And for now, I guess that'll have to do. So we'll get the tungsten coming in through here. It's almost at the right spot. So we'll move the tungsten belt where it makes sense in a little bit when we clean up the old base. All right, that's the tungsten in, and that should be everything required for the system to work. Amazing. So we're already producing orange science just like that. Nice and simple. We need the tungsten to then continue on into this base, which our old tungsten belt I've marked with that. And is that the best way to do tungsten? Should we like run it just through here, I guess? Yes. You know what? We'll do this in a little bit because one, I've got a billion tungsten. Oh wait, we've run out of tungsten. Amazing. All right, cool. I was gonna say I had all my tungsten being placed in here that was being unused, but now we have run out of tungsten. So let's run the tungsten belt in. We'll run it along the back here. So somewhere around here would be the best. Wait, is that the best? That's running through the base. No, we want to run it up through here. Let me mark where I want it to go. It's along this line, probably around here. So our tungsten belt is currently here, and we just need it to go up. 1, 2, and out. Temporary for now. I'll clean it up again once I decommission this old base, but our old base is currently responsible for making all these green logistics items, so I don't want to do that right now. I just want to cut off its ability to produce new things temporarily, and then we'll move everything across accordingly, as well as these rocket silos. We'll like consolidate all of them over here. All right, cool. So our new system works. We are getting everything except we are not getting any of this stuff because we have not primed the oil yet. Okay, so we need to bring heavy oil into here. Now, do we have a tank of heavy oil? Fantastic. Let's just get a pipe over here temporarily and get the system going. We just need it to go into this pipe over here. There we go. Now the heavy oil is primed. I should be able to cut this off now, and this thing should just keep going forever. Why is it so slow? Do you want a stack inserter? Is that what you're asking for? You want 2 stack inserters? I think it wants 2 stack inserters is what it's telling me. There we go. Produce plenty of stuff, and that should make plastic. Plastic should make red circuits. Red circuits should make blue circuits. Blue circuits has no sulfuric acid. Why? What? How did that happen? Okay, apparently when I replaced it, I changed the position of the sulfuric acid. So that'll get us blue circuit. We've got LDS, we've got our tungsten carbide, we've got our tungsten, and we've got our rocket fuel. That's all of our basic materials that we need to export from this planet, as well as all of our orange science. Fantastic. Now, before we continue, I want to sketch out the concrete for this build and get it looking nice, add on the new power system, and then we also want to move the process for this somewhere into this system over here, instead of doing this entire factory for no reason. This is our second factory on Vulcanus. It now serves no purpose. It was the one that was meant to be producing tungsten carbide and shipping it out, as well as tungsten plate and shipping it out, and producing all the green logistics items, as well as some mining drills and foundries. But all of those tasks are covered by our quality Vulcanus base, so we don't need to do any of that over there anymore. So this base is useless. All we need to do is reproduce this green logistics stuff somewhere here. Like, we just need to add on some, maybe a couple more foundries over here to produce some steel and whatnot, and just produce these logistics items. So I'm gonna concrete this up first, and then we'll come back. All right, here's the concrete. We're gonna go with the same concrete setup as we did in the past to use the hazard concrete to denote where future beacons might go. This one's a bit awkward because it doesn't have beacon room, but that's fine. All right, that's all our basic concrete down. I'm gonna put in a layer of reinforced concrete now. I think that turned out not too terrible looking, right? Little orange science facility. We can probably put our rocket silos somewhere along here, and then it should look pretty decent. I mean, it's not a perfect square, but it's close enough. Plenty of room for future beacons and expansions. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. And there we go. We've got our first rocket silo wired into the actual thing. So maybe I should move this back a little bit. What's the... backmost place I can move this. Probably around here. That looks good. There we go. That should be all wired up properly. Let me just get rid of all this excess stuff. Oh, it's so hard to move with all this exoskeleton. But that should be good. I should be able to now lay out more rocket silos. We'll just grab these 4 for now. I think 4 will be enough. We can pull 4K orange science every run. Should be fast enough. Our rocket ships are also very fast, so I don't know if we need to go at that sort of speed. But if we do, then we do. We're going to do that, that, and that. Fantastic. Now all our rockets are all good. Something's not quite right. Let me just get rid of this. There we go. I think that's all good now. Now green circuits is struggling because of this, but that's not a problem. We do need to do some tuning on the system. But it's kind of hard to do tuning at the moment because nothing's being drained at the moment. So we need to probably wait for the system to actually work properly. But we can do what's obvious, things that we can actually see. So obviously this and this. And you might need another one. Yeah, you're doing your best to try to move all that copper wire in there. Now we've got all the green circuits producing. Red circuits also missing copper wire. Why? Oh, too many red circuits. Blue circuits is still missing green circuits, but green circuits is fine. We just need to output it faster. Fair enough. Do that. And yeah, now we're producing blue circuits at a decent rate, I'm sure. Now all of that's being buffered into a chest, except for you. You need to be buffered into a chest. Alright, fine. We'll borrow 1 pile from here. Fantastic. We'll chuck all the rocket fuel that we have in here and all the LDS. LDS is producing extraordinarily slowly because we're out of plastic. We're out of plastic because light oil is too much. Do we not do light oil cracking here? Crack the light oil, please. You have neither water nor light oil. Ah. Have to flip this the right way. Alright, I believe that's all working now. That should make all the petroleum. Things will back up accordingly once we actually start using the ingredients. We'll have to monitor this system in action. So now we just need to take the 3 export materials and actually buffer them and put them in a chest so that they can get sent away. Right, they don't need to come out, they just need to go into this box and then the bots will handle the rest. Alright, let me draw the rest of the concrete out and then our build is done. And that's it. This is our 10 SPM orange science build. And we should be able to ship this now to Nauvis if we need it. Obviously, Nauvis is going a little bit insane with the orange science at the moment, so I don't want to be doing that. Need to drain through this pile of orange science first before we can start shipping new orange science. Don't want to keep managing 30 billion orange science over here, so we'll let that do its thing and do more low density structure productivity. That's fine. It's all beneficial to me at the end of the day. And we'll leave the orange science build there for now. We can obviously tune these quantities as we need to. We need to put roboports somewhere. So let me put down my roboports. Got a bunch of logistics drones and some roboports. I don't need 30. Let's just get a few. We'll just put them along here, I guess. Makes the most sense. Or along here. That way they can recharge. What is going on? It's taken all my carbide. The bastards. What are you guys doing? Alright, well. If it's going to use this carbide to supply my main system, that's going to be a problem that we have to resolve in the future, but that's fine. Alright, next we're going to take this thing and figure out how we can build that and make it work with our new system over there. So I'm just going to cut it out. Oh, the bots might struggle cutting this out a bit. And we'll just plop it down over here somewhere where there's plenty of space. I don't need to do anything like super fancy with it. And then we'll just route all the stuff that we need for it accordingly. Now, we probably need a few more extra production stuff because I don't think this is producing everything we need for it. For example, we need gears. Now, is this thing overproducing gears? Can we just steal gears from this system? Not really. So we can just make a new gear factory. That's not a problem. It'll be nice to just line this up somewhat. Let's move it up 1 tile. Am I out of all foundries? It's going to use regular foundries to sketch this out and then we'll upgrade accordingly. Need you to make some gears for me, please. Now, what else might you need that I don't have in the system? Let's have a look. We will need some plate, which is fine. Gears, plates, green circuit, which is fine. Gears and green circuit, that's all fine. Then we need gears and lubricant for the blue stuff. So just gears everywhere basically is what we need. And then we need blue circuit for this as well. Doesn't seem like an issue to me. Let's start hooking this up and seeing what we need. I don't think we need to produce anything else but gears and lubricant. Lubricant can just be produced using the heavy oil over here. We can just add another lubricant factory somewhere. Just do like a regular chem plant to do this. Just tack it off the back of here. Make lubricant. That looks ugly, doesn't it? Alright, we'll do it over here. Do it nice and neat and clean. That means I need to run my heavy oil out. Okay. Now I can run our lubricant line down to here. I believe this is all doing this complex lubricant stuff that it doesn't need to be doing. Oh, it kind of does because we'll just run it out like this then. Give enough room for the final input-output stuff. There we go. Let's clean up this. I don't like it. Alright, let's start running everything that we need. So for gears, we need molten stuff. So let's bring the molten stuff over. Oh, it's already over here, nearly. So we just need to bring it over a little bit more. There's your gears. We need some power for this whole getup. Now, is this power lined up in any sort of sense-making way? I don't think so. Check out the power from this side, I guess. Or we'll chuck a power here. We'll put a power here. Then can I put a power here? Nope. I'm going to set the rest of this stuff up, and then when it's all done, I'll come and talk about anything that needs to be talked about. Alright, here's the final build. It's all functional. It did end up getting a little bit spaghettified, but that's okay. We're a little bit underproducing the lubricant. I'm not worried because this stuff doesn't need to be producing like non-stop constantly. It can just produce at whatever speed it produces at. As long as it fills the box eventually, I'm happy with that. Let's concrete it up to make it look like it's part of a real build instead of just some jutting out random addition. Most terrible designs can be fixed with concrete, but in this case, not quite because it's way too terrible. It just looks like this weird extra jutty out bit, but whatever. This is about functionality, not about design prettiness right now. At the end of the day, I'm still an engineer. I'm not a UI designer. So unfortunately, you're going to be stuck with my ugly looking builds, but they do work. That's the important part. And you guys are all in the comment section going, can you blueprint this for me? This isn't blueprint worthy. What is this crap? Terrible. Anyway, as long as it works, that's all I care about right now. Alright, we've got all the space platforms, we've got all the science, we've got all our exports ready to go. All I need to do is a little bit of cleanup. We need to just delete this old build. Oh man, it's gonna look how much stuff is on the belts here. It's gonna take me forever to delete this. Okay, well, let's get to work. I'm gonna delete this old build, clean up the rest of the area, try to make it look somewhat presentable, and yeah, and come back and talk about it if there's anything to talk about. And ta-da, just like that, everything over here is now gone. And that took friggin' ages. There was so much stuff in that base to clean up, but we got rid of it all. And we, as a little bonus, we got a bunch of green tungsten carbide to put into this base, which is fine. Don't want to waste any of this stuff. Feels like it's useful, and don't want to waste the tungsten either because I feel like we're running out. Carrying on, we're just going to clean up our inventory a little bit, and I figured out what I'm going to do with this space. Let me just think about it for a second. Yeah, there's a reason I left this space open. It was meant to be for steam turbines, and I've got a bunch of steam turbines, so I'm going to shove it in there. Apparently, instead of the giant barrage of steam turbines we had before, this many steam turbines is more than enough to satisfy the very low power requirements required to make this level of science. I think our old base used to draw like close to 3-something-hundred megawatts. Now we're only drawing 200 megawatts. And that was like the old base alone, including this new base doing all this quality stuff. The power consumption is actually fairly reasonable, I would say. So I'm gonna concrete off this section now to make it look decent. Alright, I think we're pretty much done, just doing some minor last little bits of cleanup, and we should be sweet. We are finished over here. We need to reconnect this power, otherwise nothing over here is gonna work. 1 second. Let's do it somewhere that makes a little more sense, like over here, for example. We are pretty much done with this base. I think it looks pretty decent. We've got our quality base over here, pumping out all our quality stuff, like our modules and our foundries, our big miners, and now we have our regular base over here, pumping out 10 science per second, as well as all of our exports. I'm going to do a couple of minor stuff between this episode and next episode, like upgrading all our pump jacks to legendary and making sure that they pump out enough sulfuric acid, and maybe putting some productivity modules on these ones to make sure they last forever. We still got 7,000% on this. I don't want to come back to this planet, so we're going to come back with, they're all blue and green at the moment, but we might as well chuck them all up to legendary so that this sulfuric acid never runs out. we might go have a gander at our tungsten mine, upgrade all those to legendary big miners so the tungsten patch never runs out. A lot of fun stuff, so I'm gonna go do all that. And next episode we will carry on. We'll link up the logistics when it makes sense, but this orange science is ready to use on Nalvis. If we want to check back in on Nalvis, let's have a quick gander. Everything here is still going hard. We've been pretty much running at 1100 science per minute this entire episode, which has been like 2 or 3 hours, and it hasn't presented any issues. We're already up to low density structure 10 apparently, and we'll get everything up to 10 and try to burn through a lot of this orange stuff. I think it's burnt through quite a bit of it. I feel like this was all full when we started and now it's gone through like most of it, but that's fine. We'll just let it do its thing, and then when this orange science runs out, we'll link up our new orange science, which is all ready to go. Next episode, we are going to Fulgora to give it the same treatment. We need to turn our old crappy EM setup into a brand new awesome EM setup. We'll probably ship all this EM science off before we go, but do that next episode. We've done enough this episode. Did good work. If you don't want to miss out on that, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.